You're here because you want to sound like Adam Jones. The gear is one part, but today I'm going to show you how to get inside the mindset and point out one key thing that sets him apart from every other guitarist. Progressive metal to the mainstream masses, one of the leaders of putting drop D on the map in the 90s. Known for its strong riffs, droning lead lines, odd timings, and of course that iconic Silverburst Les Paul. A signature sound, right? When you hear it, you know it's him. Let's break it down. So I'll lightly touch on some gear here. There's plenty of information out there if you want to check out rig rundowns and so forth. But you know, for the guitars, obviously, the Les Paul Custom Silverburst is a big one, a staple. He's also got the custom shop reverse flying V that we've done. The amps would include anything from a Marshall Super Bass to Mesa Dual Rectifier, Diesel VH4, and the effects range, right? There's gonna be talk box, flangers, EQ, boost, wahs, and delays. I've got a couple of things today that'll help us get into that wheelhouse. Tuning is also gonna be primarily drop D. So before we dive into some signature things to listen for, real quick, hit the like button, ring the bell, and subscribe to our channel. It'll keep you up to date on future videos. Let's get started. So here's the top 5 signature things to listen for, basically habits and techniques that we're gonna go over right now. So one of the things that you're gonna hear a lot in his playing or in riffs in general, you're gonna hear triplets, pull-offs, and hammer-ons. Some people will call them, you know, pull-through, pull-offs. Basically, it's gonna be something like this. Check this out. So what's happening here, it's a mix of like a triplet, and it's a hammer-on and a pull-off, and then a hammer-on and pull-off to the next string, which is a little weird. I'm still trying to get used to it myself, but check this out. I'll try and slow it down for us, okay? So basically I'm in drop D, and I'm kind of hitting down on the E string, going to the A string. So that's really what's happening with the palm mute. If you don't palm mute, it really doesn't come across. So if you can keep it tight, it'll be something like this. Now, something that I just learned today when I was kind of going over this is using the fingertip versus the soft part of your fingertip will really help you get that attack down, right? So here we go. Now that's just your basic hammer-on and pull-off where I'm kind of trying to add a resolve to the riff. Nice thing is I'm in pentatonic, so with the drop D, this just works. So it's a cool way to add an end or bookend the riff. So here we go again. So that's really going to help you with those rhythm parts to add a little spike here and there and just to break up the monotony of things, right? Next up is droning. There's a lot of droning lines going on with the lead lines especially. A lot of open strings that rub together with fretted notes, slow bends that bend into the same note, causing like that cool dissonance and, you know, like a resolve there at the end, like you're finally getting to this place. Now pepper in some delay and modulation effects and it really kicks it up to the next level. So let's check that out. So what's cool about the droning effect is, you know, I could still hold an open note and it fills up the space when we're doing those lead lines. And then as I get down to the end, you know, you can really hear those kind of, you know, echoing the influences from like the undertow era for them, right? So check it out. Here's what's happening in my open D. So it really helps, again, with just thickening things up. And then especially when you're the only guitar player, it really fills a lot of space. So now here's that same thing with a little delay. I'm using the Maestro Discover delay. As you can hear, that really just takes it to that next level there. So this next tip is the meat and potatoes of his sound. It's the riffs, the riffage, right? The attack, the slap attack, upbeats, hits, starts and stops, and then those add 9 chords, which really fill things up. Of course, power chords. And, you know, I'll go ahead and play a few things here just so you can kind of hear all that together, and then we'll break it down. Combination of things happening there, right? I've got my riffs, I'm hitting attacks, I'm, you know, trying to stop and do some starts, and I'm trying to hit these upbeats where it's like, you know, that really comes out a lot more dramatic when you have a drummer also hitting those accents with you, right? Now, when I go into these 9 chords, which is basically just a power chord with that added note here. So just with my pinky there on the D string. So up here, I'm kind of doing that thing that we call that slap attack. It's basically like another word for hammer-ons, but with multiple notes, right? So. And there's those stops again, just to break up the chords. And that's that up hit again coming in. So when you put it all together, it really has a cool dynamic effect and keeps the parts alive, right? Okay, so now let's talk about a really specific point here, which is time signatures, right? Tool is known for doing stuff in odd time signatures and then combining time signatures, like, you know, going from 7 to 8 to 9, etc. One of the things that you want to think about is when to introduce them, right? You can do it during your riffs, you can do it during open chords and stuff that's not so intricate. Especially if you're new to this, it's a little tough to kind of like count in your head while you're playing certain riffs. So think about it this way. Let me just play something, you know, simple and open. I'll start with 2 chords that will be in 7, and then the last chord, I'll go ahead and count to 8, and then that'll resolve there, just so you can kind of get the feel here. So basically, when I was holding down the first chord, I counted to 7, and then when I hit the next chord, I counted to 7, and then the last chord, I waited till 8 to stop. Now, let's try it for something a little bit more riff-based. So first, I'll play this riff in 4/4, and then when I break it down the second time, I'll break the riff in 2 parts. The first part will be in 7, and then the second part will be in 8. So check this out. Here it is in 4/4. Okay, so now let's hear it in 7/8. So you can see the difference in the grooves there, right? Like the 7 wants to end early, the 8 wants to keep going to the normal time that we're used to hearing. So experiment with that, try different riffs, see when you want to make it 4, when you want to make it 7, and you'll really get a lot of variety in your writing. So let's go now to that one thing we mentioned in the beginning, the most important thing, the lift or the crescendo, breaking out of the riffs. This is what really sets him apart, because if we're not coming out of these riffs, it just kind of sounds like, you know, a progressive, you know, chord changes and stuff that really doesn't go anywhere, right? But the one thing that we all notice when we listen to Tool's music is we get this like tribal ride that happens, and then it breaks into something big, right? So it's chord changes under these lines or riffs and just opening them up and keeping, you know, those add 9 chords as big as possible. Let me show you a couple examples here. So again, I'm trying to play chord changes, but still give you this, you know, this theme or this main line that happens under. Now, you know, 2 guitar players make that easier. And of course, if you're just playing this part, then, you know, whoever's playing rhythm or the bass underneath can do the. Now let's hear it both together at the same time. If we take something like that and add some modulation and some delay, it really brings things, again, like I was saying earlier, to that next level. Check this out. So real quick, before we move further, remember all these items that I'm using today, you can find them on our website. There's direct links in the description below. It'll take you to our website for pricing, availability, and any options there. We've got the guitars and the amps and all the Maestro pedals that I'm using. Let's keep going. So now that we know some of the techniques behind Adam's playing style, let's dial it in for that final touch now. Let's talk about some gear. Let's look at 2 different examples. Let's look at the first example that we have for you. This is going to be for those that might be on a budget or, you know, just need a smaller rig in general, just for overall space issues or maybe just volume issues. Let's take a look at this. We've got an Epiphone Adam Jones Les Paul Custom. Awesome guitar here with the Seymour Duncan pickup, of course. And then for the amps, we've selected a Mesa Boogie Badlander 25 head, which also has the cab clone built in, so you can just run it with headphones if you want. And we're just gonna use a 112 cab here. We've got one of the new Mesa Boogie rectifier cabinets. That's got a vintage 30 speaker in it. Let's give it a listen. So now if you want to expand off of that and, you know, perhaps create a bigger rig to cover more range, you know, volume, of course, we'll go ahead and play the Gibson version of the Adam Jones Les Paul Custom here. Really nice. And then I'll also be using the dual rectifier, as you've been hearing, which is the 100-watt head, and then a 412. I've got one mic'd up in the back. That cabinet also V30s, and a few pedals now we're going to add. We're going to add that Maestro Discover delay back into the mix. I don't have a flanger today, but we're going to use a phaser for some of those modulation tones. And I'm also using the Titan boost just to have some of those sections pop out where I want to just kind of make that lift happen. Let's check it out. So now let's put all this together. Let's put all those techniques in motion and application. We'll put together a Tool or Atom style song here, and we'll do some looping sound on sound stuff so you can hear these parts in context. There you have it. Hopefully that gives you a little insight to Adam's playing styles and approach to songwriting. Try to use this in your own songs and your own style and come up with some new techniques and phrases as well. It's super exciting to try. I love it. I mean, if it wasn't for Tool, I probably wouldn't even be thinking about drop D. And make sure you head over to Epiphone's channel, their YouTube channel. We did some of the Adam Jones custom art collection videos, and I got to kind of put some of these ideas in motion as well, so you can hear it all come together for some additional examples. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.